Biodiversity is the variety of life within an ecosystem. The more species there are, the more diverse an ecosystem is. Which biomes increase biodiversity? Which biomes decreased biodiversity? As you can see, large sandy deserts and small beach islands decrease biodiversity. Ecosystems that have more space allow for more species to coexist, increasing biodiversity. Biomes that can support more producers, bank plants, support larger and more complex food webs, increasing biodiversity. Generally, life is supported by sunlight and water. Too much or too little of either would decrease biodiversity. Which climate increase biodiversity? Which climate decrease biodiversity? As you can see, a climate that is warm and mild will increase biodiversity. Warmer climates generally support more plant life, which will support larger and more complex food webs, increasing biodiversity. Climate is more than just temperature. Dryness, humidity, and precipitation also play a role. Generally, a drier climate supports fewer organisms, which means less biodiversity. Did having more niche increase or decrease biodiversity? As you can see, a habitat supports many niches for organisms have more biodiversity. A niche is an organism's way of life in an ecosystem, including habitat, food, predators, and competition. Here you can read about the barking tree frog. More niches means there are more opportunities for species to coexist and survive, which increases biodiversity. Fewer niches means that species have to compete with one another for resources, making it harder to survive, which decreases biodiversity. Which human impacts increase or decrease biodiversity? As you can see, most of our impacts decrease biodiversity. Humans currently are the factor that impact biodiversity the most. As a species, humans use lots of resources which negatively impact and decreases biodiversity. In a few cases, humans are learning and are taking action to preserve biodiversity. What makes an ecosystem stronger and more resilient? More biodiversity or less biodiversity? And why? More biodiversity decreases the amount of competition, which makes it easier for more species to survive. A more biodiverse food web can better adapt to more changes. Therefore, a more diverse ecosystem is more resilient. This concludes the presentation of our biodiversity. I hope you have enjoyed.